Welcome to the Old World Fanatics, your Warhammer fantasy podcast to quench your hobby thirst for all things Warhammer the Old World. I'm one of your hosts, Guy, and I'm joined by Andrew and Josh tonight. How's everyone going?
Good,
Pretty
thank you.
good.
Pretty
Not
good.
bad at all. How are you going?
What are we up to? Episode 39.
39. Oh my god. It's
Nearly at the
getting as old as
40.
me.
Yeah, I know.
Like half a century. Yeah.
That's right. Yeah, it's going to be catching up with my birthday soon too. But actually, we might even hit 45 by the time I'm 45 because it's mid-June, so you never know.
June, nice.
Did you think we get to 39 episodes every week when we started doing this? Like,
Nah.
2 hours every week?
Yeah.
We kept, and I kept mentioning, we don't have to do it every week. We can, we can just slow it up.
Take it easy.
No
Take
one
it
wanted
easy.
to, so it's good. Yeah. I feel like if you don't have momentum, it just dies. I don't know what the stat is, but it's like 3 or 4 episodes, and then most podcasts die. So it's good to know that we pass through that bit.
High attrition.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, welcome everyone to another episode. We're going to cover. I don't know. It's just weekly catch-ups at this point, but I think in terms of topics, I know we're going to expand a little bit, or Josh is going to expand a little bit more on some of this campaign thoughts that you've got rattling around. And we did get a bit of feedback and not feedback, but one of our listeners sent through their campaign pack too, which is much more. It's not. I know it wasn't down what you were after, Josh, but it is quite. It was
Comprehensive.
It was
Yeah.
comprehensive.
Oh, yeah,
At some
yeah,
point
a
we
lot of
might go
stuff
through that
in it.
one, but there was too much to sort of look through and talk about
was epic.
this episode. But so thanks for that. I think it was Luke. I think his name was. Didn't actually have it written down in front of me, but hopefully I got that right. And then there's a lot of talk at the moment around, just the meta, the win rates. I know, and crazily, we decided to do this topic, sort of start looking at what Squarebase put out and just look at some of the tournaments that have just recently happened, probably in the last month since the FAQ and who's winning, and just have a bit of a, it's a little bit off the cuff, but look through maybe some lists and just some thoughts around that. Interestingly, I was listening to the Old World Charm podcast this morning, and they did a very similar thing. And I was like, damn, I didn't know we'd already selected this topic. So it just must be, it's very topical. Everyone's talking about it, whether or not you agree or not. We just wanted to cover our thoughts on it and stuff like that. So that's pretty much it. Anything else you want to cover, guys? Otherwise, I'll throw it into the patron shout out first.
No, go for it.
All good, cool. Well, just before we do that, like always, we always shout out our Patreons. For those first time listening, you don't have to sign up at all, but our patrons just have elected to pay us small. It's $2 a month or something US, just to help us with the cost of running the show and all that sort of stuff. So really appreciate it. And as a result, the only reward they get at the moment really is to is for us to read stuff out their names. So we'll go through that. I'm just going to throw it over to paid members because we've got a few frees, but maybe not reading them out means they
it's less confusing.
It's less confusing between my list and yours, Josh. Big thank you to Matt Morris, Thomas Vavasaur Sauer, I should say, Griff, Jess Tors, Wood Duck. He was there last week, I think. Matty.
Yeah.
I think he did, or maybe it was straight after.
Last week or during the podcast, maybe?
During the podcast.
Maybe it was. Yes. Sorry.
The
Okay.
live
Well,
stream.
big thank Matt. Yeah.
Hobby.
So probably get him back on at some point. Yeah. Wood Duck, Josh Griffiths, Ninanum, Daniel Broadstock, Jonathan Wengler, Elliot Mitchum, Chris Turnbull, Gilthos Draconos, our big fan. I love Gilthos. Julian Diesel, Cameron Atkinson, Richard, William Payne, Robert Z, and Goo Pants Spotty Whistle. Goo Pants Spotty Whistle. I don't know where I was going when I was reading Goo Pants, and I was getting a bit worried. Yeah.
The ridiculous icon has got of a guy pursing his lips and looking quite surprised about something.
Yes. Yeah. Andrew McAllister, Bobby Gherkin, Gunwich, Sean Ritchie, Todd Lloyd, and Japstack, the OG. So thanks, guys. We're up to something like 25 paid members and probably around 30 or so all up. So a big thank you, guys. If you're keen and just want to check that out, you can go to patreon.com/oldworldfanatics. But otherwise, we also are publishing on YouTube. So if you're not listening to this on your audio and you're actually watching us on YouTube, please hit that like, subscribe, and the bell button to get alerted, because we do other videos. Other than just
you guys did
podcast.
a big Beastman
yes, we can go into
video
that,
the other day, didn't you?
We did a Beastman faction focus because both Andrew and I thought we don't know anything about Beastman. And interestingly, since doing that on Friday, I watched a couple more bat reps and I was like, oh, I sort of understand what's in it. And I noticed a few of these tournament results, there's Beastmen are up there on some of them.
Yeah.
They are. They are.
Yeah, so it was good to...
Scary.
I know I'll forget it in another week. I remember I looked at High Elves the other day too, and I can't remember anything about what we covered in the High Elf one. So it doesn't really stick. You need to be playing it all the time.
It's a muscle. You got to keep using it.
Yeah, it's a little bit like that. We usually do news now, but is there any? I don't think so. I know the pre-orders went out. I've actually bought, I wasn't going to, and I still did. I got the Wyvern. I pre-ordered the Metal Wyvern on.
Oh, the old.
It's not pre-order. It's pre-order, but what do you call it? Made to order.
Made to order.
Yeah.
Is that the fourth ed or something you were saying?
Yeah, it's something like that. Yeah, it's pretty old. And I was on the fence about it. I wasn't going to do it, and I went, you know what's going to happen? I will want it next year, whatever, when it does come out, and then it'll be ridiculously expensive because it was made to order, and and I was like, oh, I might as well just do it. So
if they're made to order, you've only got the one chance to get it.
Yeah, I'm going to hate myself.
Get a chance again.
Metal, I don't like those metal, the bigger ones. You got to pin the whole thing together.
Pin it all.
It's going to be fun.
Well, got a super cool activator. That helps a lot.
Actually, those I don't know I don't even know if that is that the one. Is that got metal wings as well? You know how they went to plastic wings?
Ooh,
yeah, might have metal wings.
Might be
the wings that do look unusual. Yeah, they could easily have metal wings. You saying you might regret this purchase?
Yeah. Get the old drill out. Yeah, that'll be right. We'll get there. That's all. That's the only thing I did. It wasn't really news, but I don't know if you guys. Obviously, you guys weren't getting any of that stuff, but do you guys?
Not really. Yeah. I haven't checked if I can get the unicorn. Actually, I should probably go back and check to see if they have it in stock yet.
Yeah, they might. I don't know. I thought. I mean, the only weird thing about the whole ordering stuff, and I whinged to you guys on the messenger about the other day. I went into our local hobby store and there's still no Orc stuff, but there was at Good Games in Maitland or something, and someone bought a heap of stuff. But our local, the one we go to, me and Andrew go to, they had nothing. They had like the old Toon Kings and all that, but they didn't have any of the.
I went again and didn't see anything.
So I'm like, what is happening?
Yeah, there was a fair bit at the House of War. There was a fair bit of Orcs and Goblins on display at the front.
I hope it's what you said, Andrew. That you said they might have had some issues getting availability or something.
I'm hoping.
I doubt they wouldn't stock it because they still stock some games that are not that popular either. So I don't think.
They stock random stuff in there. Like surely, But
so anyway, we'll see. I went in twice over the last, because I went in last week not realizing it wasn't even out yet, and then it wasn't there, and then I went in on Saturday, it wasn't there. I was like, what the hell's happening?
Yeah.
So, anyway.
Well, I asked about dwarves because I went in there and said, "Oh, can I do pre-orders?" And they said, "Oh, nah." But then I said, "Oh," because they said they don't even have an order sheet to submit yet, or haven't even received one.
Oh, for dwarves or
so I've asked for the Arcane Journal and get the Lord on or Thane on Shield Bearers.
I'll
mate got a note, a piece of paper, so I'm sure that's going to get lost.
Yeah,
so I'll make sure I'll follow that up when
you haven't had good luck with when you get on those pre-orders. You just got canned, didn't you, with the actual. When it came out initially, didn't you? And you did.
Yeah, I got the last book.
Didn't get you.
I got the last rule book, and then I rang up, and then they're like, "Oh no, we didn't have enough stock." I'm like, so I got bumped clearly for somebody.
Anyway, I don't know, like I want to show support because I really haven't bought. I'm trying to think. I don't think I bought any Old World off that. Like there, it's always had to buy it through Games Workshop or Gap Games or one of those ones. I haven't actually bought it through Frontline Hobbies. I feel bad.
I buy enough stuff through Frontline.
Well, I buy other stuff, but I feel like you sort of go, it looks like I'm a 40k AOS player because the stuff I buy is all 40k AOS. And it's like, just give me some old world that I actually want to buy. And I would have bought Tomb King stuff. I just already had it all. I didn't really need to buy heaps of it except for the box. But then I ended up getting that through GW or whatever I did. So anyway, that's enough of that. Well, do we want to cover... We did get asked, one of our patrons, Nanuium, asked us to cover some of the tournaments upcoming again, which we do occasionally, but we decided not to do it every week. But does anyone want to run through the next?
Was this
month
Australian?
Or so? Well, I added some, I think, international as well. And obviously we can't cover all of them, but...
sorry, I didn't know if he specified.
I think he was more international. Well, actually, I don't know. I get lost. I don't know where all the patrons are from. A few of them I do, but not all of them. Yeah. So what have we got coming up in Oz? There's 3 that are coming up pretty soon.
Yeah. I mean, what is it? So, I was going to say, the Queensland. Well, it's the first one coming in. Winter is coming. So that'll be big because it seems like all the Queensland tournaments are quite large. So that's what, 26th of June?
Yeah. I think
so that's not too far away.
Do we know is that a 1-dayer as like Brutal Deluxe was, or is that 2-dayer? Do we know?
I thought
I haven't looked it up.
But I'm not logged into Facebook on this browser, so I can't see it.
Although it only says the 26th, doesn't it?
But I might have just written it that way. I can't remember. It's
Hold on.
Winter is coming. Daniel Stark. No, it's just Saturday.
It's just 1 day.
I don't know, but then it says 26 is 20. It must be just a 1-day. No, it's a 1-day. 2,000 point 1-dayer. Yep.
Yep. Yeah. Up to 30 people.
Yeah. Well, that'd sell out, you think, for sure. Considering their last single 1-dayer that was pushing 50s, I think. And that was out.
Interestingly, in the pack there, it's got 2 3/4 hour rounds, 3 rounds at 2 3/4 length.
Yeah. Okay.
How far in do you think they're going to get into each game? Because how long were your rounds, Andrew, at ShyCon? Were they like 3.5 hours or something?
Nah, 3. I'm pretty sure.
They were on 3.
But
But you did 2 and 2, didn't you? You didn't do 5.
Yeah, we did. Yeah. But we had obviously went into our lunches and whatnot if we were able to or wanted to. So we definitely, there was a couple of games that were longer with some people. But I wasn't too bad, I think, with mine. But definitely some people you could go well in past 3 hours. So I think it's just it's down to people probably not stuffing around and hopefully coming in knowing a bit
get
of the
faster
rule
as
set.
people.
It's
so new still.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
I mean, at the end of the day, it's like it kind of suck if you got these big rounds, I suppose, and then you have the people who play real quick, and then you just kind of end up just twiddling your thumbs for an hour waiting for other people. But sorry, the next was Belcon 2. I didn't even know about this until Gomo hit me up.
Yeah, well, it's not on the
Canberra.
Australian. So for the Australian listeners, there is a Facebook group that they're trying to put all the events on. So it doesn't matter which tournaments this software they're using. They're trying to do that. But Belcon 2 is not on there yet. I just noticed that Ben was saying stuff about it and more around voting, like what the format will be in terms of points and all that sort of stuff and how many rounds.
Right.
And it seemed like there was a lot of push, hopefully, to do a proper 5-game, 2-dayer, 2K. So that's what I voted for.
The end of June?
Yeah, last week, end of June.
Old
Because it's
school.
Canberra, I thought I might. Yeah, but it's only 16 places, I think, too. So it may not even get in.
Not big for a 2-dayer.
Mm.
Nah, not at all. That's very limited.
Yeah, so even if it's a 1-day, I might even go do it. I'd like to do one tournament before Castle Assault.
Before Castle Assault.
I'm sort of running out of options because there might be some coming up, but I can't see any more coming up.
Oh, man. Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like that's a decent possibility that will end up
Hmm.
both of us going to Castle Salt in our first tournament. I feel like you're more prepared than I am. I barely played it. Keep playing bloody 6 ed.
You're still podium, but Josh, come on.
Yeah.
And then down your way, Josh. Gathering Darkness.
So this got announced a couple of days ago, or maybe almost a week ago, at Miscast Misfits, which is southeast Melbourne. I think they've got 20 player limit, but dependent on terrain, because apparently they've got quite a lot of space. But they're saying they've only got so much terrain. That was bizarrely. So I saw this. It was sort of odd. So they've got 20 limit, and they had pre-allocations for members of the group, and also for people that have been playing in their Old World League. That was on like Thursday nights or something. It's been going for a couple of months, and then they had a waiting list for people that could sign up to a waiting list for if the group members weren't keen to go or that type of thing, and it's pretty much sold out. And so like there's a few people on the waiting list. And the people on the waiting list have all been like, oh, I can bring terrain. I can bring 1 or 2 tables of terrain. And then but the people that are running it are like, we're happy to have your terrain, but we need to have a secure with the facility before we open up more tickets. And we're like, we can bring it on the day, but we're not going to just give you your terrain for like 2 months for you to use it. Anyway, so it's a little bit impractical, that stipulation, I feel. But
because usually it's not too bad to ask people to bring terrain. That's like pretty common in the early days. But not with
they want the terrain on location before they open the tickets up, which is pretty limiting. So so they might just be stuck at 20 players then. So I'm on the wait list for that.
Oh, you are.
I don't know if I'm.
So you're going, but that's
because I'm not a member.
Okay.
I wasn't able to join the league because it was on a night that didn't really. It just was impractical for me to get there because it's like, I work in the northeast and then this would be after work on the southeast. So it's almost like an hour and a half to get there after work, and it's just not happening. But that's a 2K 1 day, I think. 3 games 1 day 2K, which that would have been a nice. I'm hopeful I get a spot because it would be a nice little warm up for Castle Assault if I can get it.
Totally. It would be good. We've got a couple of international ones. There's so many. I was looking through Best Coast pairings and new recruit. So it was not by any means exhaustive. I just got 3 that I wanted to give a shout out because they're so close, and that's Middenheim GT, which still that's in Minneapolis, I think. It's a proper, as far as I can see, was a 2-dayer, 5-round. Like a proper grand GT, which is really cool. But it's still got a few places left. May 25th, so 13 of 24 tickets left, but it's May 25th, which isn't that far away. So, if you're over that way, obviously get into it. Yeah.
It's barely 2 weeks away. That's list submission deadline, sort of not far off.
Yeah.
It just has a cool name, the Middenheim GT. I think that sounds cool.
It does.
Then you've got, I'm pretty sure this is, I don't know which square base I'm guessing this is, but Bugman's Big Brewery Bash. I mean, I'm pretty sure that's still Rob's, one of his other ones at his Nottingham place. I can't remember what they call it, whatever they have, his ones. That's on the 1st of June. So I think that's like their 6th Old World one now. So that's registered for June 1. So and they usually just have 24 spaces. I think it fills up. So obviously people who are in Nottingham, they'll know about that and get to that. I think the last 2 winners is the same guy who runs Vampires. I think we might look at one of the lists. I don't know. But I wonder if that'll be a 3rd time in a row, if that's what it was. You also have, now I'm pretty sure I've heard of the Brawlers Bash before, but I think I'd heard of this one. It's 1st of June as well, with a lot of free remaining tickets, at least from Best Coast pairings, and that is in San Diego, Broadside Bash. So I'm pretty sure I heard of that back in the day, as well as Brawler Bash, which obviously is on the other side of the country, I think. So it's just weird because when I looked at it, it still had like 3 tickets sold. So I'm guessing they're not either. I'm assuming it's better than that. I would imagine maybe they're not registering it like in BCP. Maybe, I don't know. It just seemed weird that it's at a 100-person tournament. You know what I mean, in terms of AOS and 40k and all that. And they've got 30 spots for Old World, so hopefully they're getting a bit more support than that.
Yeah,
and
you'd
if
hope.
not, get in there if you're on the West Coast down near
Yes.
San Diego, or you want to go, see the Dolphins at SeaWorld and Legoland.
Beautiful spot.
Play some Old World.
St. Diego.
Yeah. Yeah, is there any other tournaments, guys, that you know of that you want to give a shout out? And obviously, listeners, if you want to give a shout out to your tournaments, let us know, and we'll do that next week for sure.
Yeah, no, that's all the tournaments I'm aware of.
Oh, well, that's some of the ones that are coming up. Obviously, more and more are coming up, and I think more and more are starting to, use these new recruit and Best Coast, which, obviously going to flow into our topic around meta stuff, because at least people can, look at the results and things, which is cool. So
it's so centralized, isn't it? So easy to access now.
It is. I was looking at, it'd be nice to, I know people are doing the stats, which we'll talk about, and they're sort of pulling them, but I'd really like to know, are they pulling all this stuff manually, or because you can sort of get it out of their web stuff, the back end a little bit, like automatically. It'd be nice to really pull all that stuff just automatically, just shove it into one area, that'd be cool. But anyway, that's a techie thing. Maybe if it's not doing that way, maybe I'll have a look at that. So hobby time, guys. Let's smash into that. I think, Josh, we're going to throw you last again. Do you want to? Or
Yeah, I'll be last. Yeah,
and then we'll flow into the campaign stuff.
Yeah, indeed. Yeah, I think that works. Okay,
well, let's do that. Sort of what we did last week. Okay, cool. Well, I've been talking. So, Andrew, did you get any hobby? Maybe not, because you had a busy week.
Oh, yeah. Moving on. Comment. Nah. So, did I talk to you guys? Well, I talked to Gummo about it, but I don't know with Josh, because I might have spoken about this during our hobby stream.
Yeah, hobby.
Did I talk to you about the Avatars of War guys I got, Josh?
No.
Okay. Yeah, so there was a guy. They run. I think it might be Goblin Painting Studio or something in Newcastle. It's like a father-son duo. And anyway, they had on their shop, they were getting rid of some old. I was chasing up the old Avatars of War. I was looking for them the other day, funnily enough, and I couldn't see them. And they don't sell them anymore, because I think they just do, like Gomo said, they've gone from
STLs,
creating miniatures, just to STLs. So the old Anyway, the Avatars of War Berserkers, which are the Troll Slayer knockoffs, really nice models. And I couldn't find them. And then for the life of me, just randomly on Marketplace, they've popped up for $25 for pretty much mostly on sprue, a box set. And I was like, oh, geez, this is a bargain. And then as well as that, they also have the Dwarf Warriors, which I reckon look really, really cool. So anyway, I bought those, and I'm going to be probably looking at replacing my warriors with the Avatars of War warriors. And they've just come on wood 20mm bases. So I've taken about half of them off. And this is after I've already taken about half of my Dwarf Warriors off their 20mm bases. Because I got about, I think, 40 odd of those.
What edition warriors are they? Like, are they similar ones that are going to come out? Like in the next release? World?
Yeah, they are coming out. Yeah, they're in the box set. So I think I've got. I think they're maybe 5th or 6th edition sort of. So they weren't mono pose, but they're not very dynamic. So you can kind of, they all kind of look very similar. And they kind of don't quite fit the aesthetic of the newer models as much. So they're a little bit small, whereas the newer models just a bit beefier dwarfs, a little bit taller and definitely wider.
So the Avatars of War warriors are a bit bigger as well, a bit chunkier.
Yeah, they're definitely a bigger model. The only thing is their beards are probably a little bit like long beardish, so they're quite big and elaborate. But yeah, as a warrior, I reckon they're pretty good. I'm just trying to get my hands on some of maybe the Longbeard Ironbreaker shields, so that they're all going to have the same sort of shields. To me, that's going to sort of blend in a lot better.
Yeah, that'll make a big difference.
Yeah, and then as we know, I went out, or maybe not, as people don't know, I went out and after talking last week, and I got the base ready basing material.
Yeah. We
So
were
I
talking
got
about this last week.
2 packets of that. Yeah, the New Zealand Fields of New Zealand. So I've got that. The only problem is I've started sticking all rocks down before I was going to flock for my models, but then the rocks that I've bought are like a really light white, almost like a chalk, not quite, but and it kind of doesn't gel 100% with that Fields of New Zealand basing sort of theme, I suppose. But I pressed ahead. I mean, like, at the end of the day, it's like, well,
Yeah, it's just basing.
Yeah. I'm sort of like splitting hairs over like, that rock doesn't look like it. It's just a slightly different. Well, it's a very light white shade compared to the other rocks, which are just like your standard light browns and greys and granites.
Yeah. Could you just drop a bit of wash or something on the white rock and just blend it a bit? Do you think that would work?
Maybe. I was trying to because I've got quite a few larger rocks. I was thinking I might take those off, and because I think that's the only issue is when you've got like a big sort of rock, it sort of stands out. Whereas if it was quite small, you probably wouldn't notice it as much.
Yeah.
But yeah, like you said, maybe just throw a bit of wash on it and might tone it down like a really light black or something like that, like a watered down black or brown.
Yeah, just very soft. Yeah.
Just take the edge off, yeah. So yeah, that's what I've been doing, just pulling off bases and buying more stuff.
That's
Sweet.
cool. You're keen to just keep pushing ahead with the dwarves then, obviously, even though technically you have what you needed for dwarves, you just trying to bring it together a bit more, or are you just prepping for the you want enough stuff there for when the actual arcane journals come out, and if there's Slayer armies and stuff? Is that what you sort of
I just want to start rebasing. Like, I was doing the vamps, and then in typical fashion I just get sidetracked. And then just started doing dwarves. I don't even know. I think it was because we started out playing and it was like vamps first, obviously Tomb Kings, and then I think there was a few comments about undead. Here we go, like undead versus undead. Yeah, so I think people wanted some variety, and then that's obviously when I started playing the dwarves. And then next thing I know, I was taking the dwarves to Maddie's tournament, and then at ShyCon, and then now I'm rebasing my dwarves. So I'd like to go back to vamps. I think vamps have got a pretty solid army, and I do enjoy
they're good.
the way they play.
Well, I'll get my orcs up for sure. So we'll at least have them, and
get
a few
I think part of the thing back then was that everyone was interested in the falling backward order and stuff, and the dynamics of that. And then you guys would play undead versus undead, where it just doesn't happen at all.
Yeah, half the game wasn't in there.
They just sit there and kill each other.
But maybe that matchup would be more accepted now that people have had time to settle into the game anyway.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, it's good.
100%.
Yeah, cool. So I'll go now then quickly. Yeah, I've just been painting basically and constructing lots of skeletons. So for the non-old world people, I just smashed out 2 different hero dudes in Orcs for 40k, which I was going to do just to get that off my table, which is cool.
Oh, yeah. There's circle bases on there.
I know. The pictures, I don't know, they're washed out on these photos, so they don't look like that. I think I was taking pictures really dark at night, and it just doesn't come out as well. Whereas that one comes out better. That's
like
my
the
third
AI
Scorpion.
sort of overcorrected the
like that looks really grainy and stuff, and it's not like that at all. So it's weird. Yeah, it's a beast boss and a pain boy, they're called, I think. So yeah. No, all good. So that's all done now. Now I just decide if I want to keep painting some others, or as you can see, the next couple of shots I went on to building lots of skeletons. So but I in our hobby hour last week I started washing this guy, and so I just finished him on Friday or something. Just so now all those scorpions you printed for me, Josh, are all done.
I was wondering if that was one of the printed ones. It looked familiar.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
they look
3 of
good.
those guys and 2 of the
Yeah,
others.
okay.
Yeah. But yeah, I just started going, well, it won't take, it'll take me, weeks to do, but it's not hard to paint skeletons. So I thought, well, I might as well start finishing off the spearmen because I had no just basics.
How many
spears.
spearmen?
So I ended up doing 60 or 61 technically. But which is funny because it's like I just kept going and going, and I was thinking, imagine if I did do that 100 and something 20. Imagine doing it
120?
again, doing another 60. And this is only building them.
Big
'Cause they
giant
just-
space.
They're so crap. Like these old ones where you like glue the torso, onto the actual legs, and then it just takes forever. And sometimes the arm doesn't stick very well. And then I also did do 5 other horse archers while I was at it because I just want the flexibility. I want the Tomb King army to be there where I can just like pull all the bits I need from it. So I just sort of at that point where I'm doing ones that I won't need right now, but I might. So, so I just took a few in progress shots, more skeletons, and then finally got all 60 done.
Nice.
So I did a few extras because that way, as you can see, there's command group here and a command group there. But obviously, if you took it in 60, you wouldn't have like the command group. So I just did a couple of dudes at the back so I can make sure that if I take 2 of those guys out, I've got ones to come. And then that came today too, the Old World. So the Arcane Journal that I ordered the other week, so that came. So I started looking. I mean, I've obviously read the digital version, but it's nice to have the real one. But yeah, just before this, I finished just sanding all the bases. So tomorrow, because I think it's not so rainy here, I might give the whole thing a big bone. I've got I just use the army painted bone spray as the undercoat. So that'll just go all over them, and then I'll be ready to well, I usually crank the airbrush out actually to put a darker desert yellow on the base just before I start actually painting. So I'll have to do that as well. But once that's done, then they're ready to start the whole process. I'll start the batch painting, I guess.
Yeah, that's
I don't know if
good.
it's in groups of 10 or 20. I'll just get through them. So
I was going to say, what was your method? Because I know a lot of people don't like doing the batch painting in big batches because you almost need to see that progress.
I like to see a little bit of progress. Like I'm the type of person too that sometimes I'll finish doing the basing once I've done the base coats and stuff because I like to see the whole figure. Like I can't finish I don't know what it is. I don't like spending a lot of time in the nth degree if the base is shit. Like if it's just black.
Yeah.
Like
Really?
I want to
so
actually see the figure, what it looks like, and then I don't know if it just mentally I go, okay, well I'll know I'll put effort in here and here and here.
And then you go for the highlights and stuff. Yeah. Wait, what's the biggest batch you would paint? Like
with these skellies, I don't know, maybe somewhere between 10 and 20. I don't think I'd do more than 20 in one go. Only because I'd probably think I could probably use 10, so do 10. And then, if I need it, I could do another 10, stuff like that. Maybe. I don't know.
20 would be a pretty massive batch. Yeah.
But I mean, what I will do, though? I'll probably wash them all, like with Skeleton Horde, all in one go, all 60.
Yeah, okay.
Once you've done the undercoats and there was Skeleton Horde over the whole thing, and then, to be honest, what I probably would end up doing is then I would finish the base. Because then they look, if I have to use them, at least they're skeletons, that at least they sort of look done, and then it's just a matter of then pick the 10 out, start the spears. Actually, then you do all the dry brush, the bone, and then when they're at that level, they're pretty much... I mean, they wouldn't look finished, but they wouldn't look bad. And then you just pick 10 out and start doing all the details.
No, that would work well.
But you watch, I'll do all this. It'll take me weeks, and I'll never use them. But you got to have some, hey? That's the thing. So
yeah, absolutely. And they're on 25s too. Wait, do you have any on 20s at all? Like, do you still have those?
Oh, well, I never had any.
You never had any?
Yeah, never had any skeletons done up. Because the ones I did for the 6th edition one last year, I built all them for 6th edition. I never used spearmen. I just used the archers. So they're the only skeletons I ever had, like, actually built. Yeah.
All right. So, this is really building for the old world. that
And
particular
it actually got me
ridiculous
thinking
list.
maybe I should just finish putting there's 3 more chariots in there so I could get them up. And I've got heaps of, when you build like the Necrosphinx, you end up with the extra tomb guard that you don't use for the War Sphinx and stuff like that. And likewise, if you build the Sepulchral Stalkers, then you've got a few tomb guard left over from that. So I've got 3 more chariots to build. So I thought, well, I might build them soon and then use them as the tomb guard chariots and throw those tomb guard in that.
That's a good idea.
And if you need to take like a unit of 6 or something, you just put 3 normal chariots behind it or something, like, you know, as long as the front command guys all have tomb guard in it. I think it's pretty obvious. So
agreed.
Yeah, I think that's totally fair. Yeah. There's never
So-
putting in a whole lot of effort to make 6 of them when for a specific list that you'll probably only run a couple of times. Yeah.
Now the issue here is like this can take ages, and it's like Andrew just said, I'd like to actually rebase my orcs as well. But I mean, the other thing is I could just buy more of those adapter trays from, you know, what's his name, Miniature Horde, and just put everything on adapter trays. All those little ones that you had, Andrew. You had the individual ones.
Yeah.
For yours. I don't know. I feel like I should just get it done. I don't know. Anyway, that's what I did. Oh, you know, the other thing, though, I did do, and how do I stop this screen share? Remove. Is I started shopping for 3D printers. So I was going to bring it up, but it's not here. But anyway, I was thinking about doing it. Went on Amazon and started looking again. That's when I texted you, Josh, I think. I don't know if you saw it, but I was like, oh, which one should I get? And then I went, and I think I had the Saturn 3 in the inbox, like the cart from last time, but it wasn't available or something. Oh, I can't remember what it was. And then I saw, I think people are already starting to put Saturn 4s on there, even though they're not out yet. And that's when I went, oh, hang on, why can't you get that? And then I went to the actual Elegoo, whatever it is, website and saw that the 4's coming out in June and July type time frame. So I'm like, oh, it looks pretty good. I don't know. Maybe I'll.
Where's it going to go?
Where? I'd have to put it out.
3D printing. Little room.
Yeah, I'll have to put it at the back of the garage has the little room at the back.
Okay, yeah, right.
Yeah, so just clean it up. And well, I was going to ask you, Josh. So, like, obviously, does the whole thing have to be in the dark all the time, or is like I would assume, or not?
No.
Oh, okay, so it won't set. I mean, it's not dark. I'm not saying it's not light the room, but I'm just wondering how pedantic it has to be. I wasn't even sure.
Not very pedantic.
Like, where do you put yours?
It's in the
just more
shed.
the fumes, then you just don't want, because it stinks.
Yeah, it's in a shed
gives
with
you a
a
headache.
with a clear roof. It's got one of those clear laser light roofs.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
So sometimes it almost has direct sun pretty close to the printer itself. The printer doesn't get direct sun,
Yeah.
but it's pretty sunny. The thing,
And
okay,
it's-
so the hood that it comes with
is-
is UV proof.
Yeah, that's
So
what I would
it's
have
not going to
thought.
set
That
was-
anything.
No, that's
know,
exactly
it's-
that was my assumption. Yeah, that's why they do them that way, and they almost look like sunglasses, you know, the way they
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
they have
yeah.
different colors
I-
and stuff. Yeah,
I wasn't sure how good it'd be if it was in direct sun. Like I feel like it might still have a problem. I don't know, but
Yeah.
it doesn't have to be in dark. It's not like a photo film
Yeah.
development room where
Yeah.
you're in the red light
yeah, cool.
or
Okay.
anything like that.
Yeah. So
So I only put it aside for the fumes, and I think the newer ones tend to have like filters and stuff. Like they've got like the carbon filters and stuff that I think,
Right, okay.
in theory, is supposed to reduce the fumes.
Yeah,
I
I'd never
guess,
have it
but-
inside probably anyway. And like, I don't know, I
Nah,
think the
I
majority of
wouldn't.
the time you print it and you do it at night anyway and let it print and it's read in the morning, I'd imagine. Like, although the speed of these things are getting faster and faster. So depending on what you're
Yeah.
printing, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, I'd probably put it out there. And then I guess the other question I had, which is related to that, just in terms of finding, you know, like how susceptible is it to like movement, you know, like how, you know, is in like A, there's a fridge near there, and B, I have a pool pump on the other side of the wall, which would be off when I'm using it, but I'm like, God, you wouldn't want to put it on something that's not fully stable, is that right?
Oh, like as in, if something was vibrating next to
Like,
it? Is
yeah,
that
like
what
if you
mean?
whacked it on like a shelf and that shelf's not that great and then it's sitting and then
Oh,
the
yeah.
pool pump turns on, it would fuck the whole thing up, wouldn't it? Or like how, like,
That is
Dunno.
beyond my
Yeah, I don't know. I would
ability
imagine. I don't
to
know. It's just,
recommend.
I'm just trying to work
don't
out
know
the best
that it
place
would
in my
affect it
house.
much because the whole thing's
It's
pretty
so good.
stable. So if it's in
Hmm.
one unit, even if yeah, but
I'd hate to
yeah,
put it somewhere and then
that
go,
seems
why is all
ridiculous.
these things not printing?
Mm.
right?"
Yeah, I feel like you just put it on a stable shelf.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
look, to be honest, I would print at night anyway, and none of that stuff's on anyway, so it's probably not an issue. But I was just wondering, like, is it something that you have to really worry about? Or obviously, it doesn't sound like you've ever thought of it, so it's probably not that bad. It pretty
No,
much
well, yeah,
works.
but nothing in that shed vibrates that I use, so
Yeah,
you
yeah,
know,
yeah.
I don't need to think about it.
Yeah, well, I don't know
and-
if it vibrates, but when you've got a pump running 10 hours a day during the day, like I'm assuming
Yeah.
it does vibrate. You know, like
Yeah.
pool pumps are
Yeah.
pretty loud and like, yeah. So I'm like, maybe not run it right next to that. That's probably a bad idea. Yeah, no, I don't know. We'll see. It's I might end up doing it. And then me and Andrew can just pump stuff out.
Yeah.
Just not painted. Just put it in our boxes.
Yeah.
Especially me.
That's the problem. That is the problem.
Add to the grey pile.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, the Saturn's a good one. Like it's a good size plate print as well. Like you can really fit in some decent sized terrain on that, and
Yeah.
you know, lots of guys too. Like the little Mars I have is fairly restrictive in how much stuff I can get done per print. And then yeah, if I want to print anything bigger, then that sort of 9 centimeter by 14 or whatever, or maybe it's only 7 centimeter by 14. I can't remember. I've got to cut it up into bits to actually
Yeah.
print it.
actually do it.
Yeah.
No, this one looks, and like you said, this one is the first. Well, I don't know if it's the first one, but the first Saturn ones that have got all that. Yeah, auto calibration and all this sort of stuff, auto leveling built in, and like, well, at least trying to make it easier. So, yeah,
and mechanical sensors, so that if you've got like chunks of resin, like solid resin in the tank, you're not going to ruin your FEP film. It's got that bizarre, although I think even the baseline has that one as well. Like the Ultra one has got the Wi-Fi and like a little camera that you can
see it.
I'm not
it's
sure.
time lapses your get a print. Yeah, that's fun.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, let's say it's got an AI thing that detects if the print is going wonky or something. But yeah, who knows how effective that is?
Notifies you.
Yeah,
so you're not wasting
apparently.
time. Okay. Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
The Wi-Fi thing might be useful. I don't know. Like mine doesn't. I feel like it might be convenient, I guess. Although most of the time you'll be out there taking prints off and then getting the next one ready to go. So I don't know how useful it'd be to set it automatically, upload it rather than putting it on a USB and physically taking it over there.
Yeah. Who knows? Plus, it's in the shed. It probably wouldn't have great wire. It might. They might be able to get Wi-Fi from there. I'm not sure. Anyway, that's me. Let's get on to yours, Josh. You're probably the one who've done the most.
I know. We're 45 minutes in. oh dear. Because pretty decent week. Actually, my slow go this week, guys.
Ooh.
Yeah, so I didn't realize it was postponed. I just saw your note. So it was supposed to be last week, was it?
Yeah, it was supposed to be last week. And House of War was closed for a week due to illness, which I didn't discover until like the night before.
Okay.
Someone messaged like, "Oh, guys, by the way, House of War was closed." Like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
So we sort of fiddled with a few options. Like I looked into, could we move it to some other place? But there wasn't anywhere sort of geographically close enough that was sort of feasible for most people, I guess.
Yeah.
So we just pushed it back a week, which also wasn't ideal because it probably meant about half the people that participate ended up not being able to come anyway. So ended up really just being 2 games, really. The 4 of us were able to turn up this one. So yeah, pretty small in the end. But I ended up playing the slightly ridiculous Night Goblin list, which is entirely Night Goblins and the big giant. Now the problem with that list is it's got very low leadership.
Yeah.
You know. I mean, even
and your whole thing is like screwing people around with your magic and leadership.
Yeah, or just the amount of fear that's in the list.
Yeah.
You know, like even the Furies
Mm.
you know, and the amount of demonettes causing fear, like it really made it hard for him to even charge me. It was so ridiculous because everything's on leadership 5, leadership 6.
Yeah.
Wow.
And there are many a failed fear check.
So is that just because he hasn't bothered? He never. Because surely you can get a little bit more leadership out of that. Like
You can get a bit more leadership if you take regular goblin
Yeah.
characters rather than night goblin characters, but he's
Right.
rigidly sticking to night goblin characters.
Gotcha.
For
Okay.
the
So
thing.
even
Yeah,
the
right.
like Lord level Night Goblin's only leadership 6, is it?
Leadership 7, the
7.
Lord level
Okay.
1.
Yeah. Okay. So it does go
Yeah.
up by 2. Yeah. Okay. But still,
So
yeah,
it's-
less than 50%
Yes.
chance.
7,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
But then he's going to take when we get to Lords, which is in a couple of months, he's going to take a Shaman anyway, which is still only leadership 6.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
I love it.
Sucker for pain.
Yep. Sucker for pain. But this was the scenario I was talking about this a few weeks ago. This was my fog scenario where you had to roll an
yeah.
artillery dice
Oh,
by
yeah.
4, and a misfire was no fog, and then the boggy ground rule where if you weren't within 3 inches of a hill, building, or rocky terrain, you had to roll a d6, and on a 1 is difficult terrain, half move. The fog was interesting. Like it did have an effect of limiting missile troops significantly, especially like if you roll 2s and 4s and you only see 8 or 16 inches.
Is that per
it
turn,
did-
did you say?
Yeah, every turn. Yeah, we roll it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think in our game we went misfire 2, 2, 10, 4. I think that was so the turn 2 and 3 we could only see 8 inches. So there was not much charging or shooting.
I thought the misfire was it just disappears. I thought that was the end of the fog.
Oh, I changed it so the misfire just for that turn.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah. Because I was judging. Yeah, I had that initially, and then I was like, actually, let's just keep it going, even if it misfire.
Yeah.
Let's just keep it
Yeah.
going.
Sweet.
Because I was worried that would happen and this was what did
It
happen in the
for you,
first turn.
First
First
turn
turn
of
roll a
this
misfire.
You're just playing a normal game.
It would have been if I kept that rule. It would have been it. Like no fog at all. Should be no fun. No fun at
No
all.
fun. No.
Yeah.
That's
So yeah, that game. I don't know how much in depth do you want me to go into
just
this game?
skim it
Because I could end up
probably,
taking quite a lot
Yeah.
of time. I've got so much else to talk about.
Yeah.
But yeah, basically he put his giant right up at the front in the middle. I ended up killing him with magic in the bolt thrower. His fanatics. I actually sort of forgot about fanatics in this game. I didn't use my Furies to get the fanatics. I just put them into his 3 little bolt throwers he had on the flank. And man, the fanatics, like I had a Dark Elf Noble riding I was playing Kolthos and Ash by the way, just so that everyone knows. I had a Dark One Noble riding the Cedar Slanesh, so 20-inch move Noble with a great weapon and the Death Mask, which means he causes terror. Again, terrifying matchup for a low leadership Night Goblin army. And he actually got done like that. So I actually moved him up, and then I sort of forgot about Fanatics. And then he moved the one of his goblin blocks into 8 inches of this.
Tear it off.
Release the fanatics.
And he rolled. This was the unit had the mushrooms as well. So he released 3 fanatics into this guy. He rolled like 10, 11, and 9 of each fanatic.
Wow.
2d6 for each one. Completely destroying this noble on Cedar Slanesh. And funnily enough, he was right in front of a massive piece of impassable terrain as well. So the fanatics all just died immediately because they popped through and hit the terrain. This glorious push destroyed my noble.
This is the noble you've been painting just before that. That's the one that.
This is the noble. And I don't think I'm going to take him next month. So I've painted this noble up for this one game, and he just got gloriously destroyed. He triggered terror on some Goblin Wolf Riders, and then he died horrifyingly to fanatics immediately. The Furies actually did pretty good work because they managed to charge into the bolt thrower eventually. They fluffed.
So he does
just
have
to-
normal goblins then too, because he's got bolt throwers and wolf.
Yeah, I guess so.
Goblin wolf
Yeah,
riders. Yeah,
he's got
okay.
some.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Although he's using spider riders as wolf riders, so they look sort of night goblin.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
I guess. And then somehow he ended up with the squig herd failing the velocity tests and trying to charge towards the furies that were sort of behind them. So all they could do is turn to face them, and then they tried to charge the next turn, but they failed the fear check. So even though the furies were stuck in combat with the bolt thrower, they ended up.
They didn't want a part of it. Yeah.
But yeah, ultimately the dragon got taken out by magic and shooting. The devoted managed to hit one of the other goblin blocks and kill a whole bunch of goblins, and the goblins fled. And then that was sort of the end of the game. Although one thing happened was my Cold One Knights failed their fear check against the giant.
Oh wow, yeah.
They ended up, because I hadn't given them Marcus Lanesh, so they actually were, even though they caused fear, they had to get a terror check. Although, does that work if you cause fear?
I
Is
thought
that
it
terror check, or
downgraded
is it-
in
Yeah,
six,
that's what
like
terror
that's-
gets, yeah.
doesn't it?
It does, yeah, but it doesn't in old world. I don't think. I think that's.
Yeah, probably not.
I think
probably
they've
not.
changed that, and it's subtle. You read it,
Mm.
and you don't fear
That's
someone
right.
else, but you still have to take a terror. I think
You would have
Yeah,
had your
in
cold
old
ones.
world.
yeah. So yeah,
You would've just
'cause, yeah,
feared
in
the-
6 ed,
Yeah,
you just fear them then. Yeah.
pretty sure.
They didn't die, but it was sort of
They didn't
amusing.
die.
They fled away, sort of to about 6 inches away from the edge
But that
of
would
my
have been
table.
near the beginning. Yeah, I was going to say that'd be near the beginning of the game, isn't it? Yeah.
It would have been like turn 3, turn 2 to 3.
Yeah.
But then he had another unit of wolf riders coming along behind as well from the other side of the board. And they actually managed to declare a charge on my fleeing Cold One Knights and actually push them sideways.
Further.
Mm.
Oh,
Luckily,
yeah.
they didn't flee off the board or anything.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was funny that they ended up getting pinballed around a bit. But yeah, I ended up like it was just a bad matchup because it's just a ridiculous list and it's just too much leadership shenanigans going on my end of the board.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that was that round. Next one's in like 4 weeks, and then everyone after that's going to be every 4 weeks. So there's probably 3 more because this was 1400. There'll be 16, 18, 2K, maybe a 22K, but the month after the 2K one is the 6 ed tournament in Melbourne, so almost like that's a
Perfect
good
timing,
point
yeah.
anyway.
Yeah.
I know it's such good
Yeah,
timing.
and you didn't even plan
good
that.
No, I didn't. It just happened. I don't know if
Ooh.
if you who's running it did that on purpose. I'm pretty sure we didn't,
Mm.
but yeah, it just worked beautifully. Because it would have been really annoying if that clashed in some way instead. Like
Yeah.
if you had that like a week before or after one of the other slow grown meets or something, it would have been because it's always harder to get people to come to these things if you've got some other thing to go to, the week before or after, like in terms of getting the
just the time and
the consent.
yes, no, that's totally fair. Yeah.
Oh dear.
Especially if it's a whole weekend thing, but the other one. So
Yeah, exactly. So in terms of all world stuff, now I have, as I was saying the other week, I finally, because I have wrapped up most of what I wanted to do in terms of oh damn, hold on.
he's trying to
In
get
terms of
the
colour
picture up.
Slanesh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
it's
Okay. Yep.
not- So I have been.
But now
working
you're
on
back
my-
onto getting these Brett's built because you had to get more Knights of the Realm or something done as well, wasn't it? And you're getting.
I will be
What are you
getting them
doing?
done.
Oh, okay, that's another thing. Okay, so these just the Peg Knights.
Yep. So yeah, the Peg Knights are finally primed. I finally got all the banners
Nice.
done of the
Yeah.
the standard bearers and that type of thing, which is the last thing I do before I could really prime them up and get them starting to look like a cohesive unit. So yeah, there's still quite a lot of work to go, especially in terms of all the terrain and stuff. But at least it looks like it's coming together finally. Because they've been sitting unprimed without banners for a couple of months now, while I've been working on the end of my Kelvis Lanesh. But now suddenly I'm like, oh, okay, there's some events that I probably want to take these guys to fairly soon. So yeah, I got them done, and then
There's 6
the
there,
art-
isn't there? It's just.
Huh? Yeah, the
The
660.
660, yeah, just the one guy. I can't see his base. The guy, yeah, okay, on the back left, yeah, or back
Oh,
right.
yeah.
They're two different ranges, aren't they? There's some are 3D printed, aren't they? Or are they
They're
all the same range?
They're all Highlands Minis 3D prints.
Okay. But the Brett ones you got now, they're the GW. Maybe that's
like
what
your
I'm
6th
confused.
edition ones.
Yeah, 6 head.
No, they're the same.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Are they?
Yeah.
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 Like you mean the 6 head ones I did for CanCon the other year? Yeah.
Yeah.
They're actually the same ones. So the only different one is the Lord I've got in the back there. That's the new version of the Highlands one because he re-released the Peg Knights. So I used the new one
and they're
of
slightly
him because
different.
I thought
Are
he
they?
was a
Like
bit more royal.
Oh,
Yeah, well, he's inverted the barding. So the old ones had barding on the rump,
Right.
and then the front legs were clear. And then the new when he re-released, he actually put the barding on the front half under the wings, and around the front legs, and just it's actually got like a non-barded rump, as it were. I aesthetically, it's an interesting choice. I wonder if he did it just because he was a bit concerned about the similarity to GW, and just sort of trying to cover himself a little bit. But it does work. It actually works pretty well.
It's good, like for the wings are smaller, just for the whole being able to fit them. I think, I think long wings are cool, but the problem is trying to get them together. It's like
that's why they're always up on these things, especially in this Lance thing.
Yeah. Man. Like I've had to do some pretty extensive aerialization of these guys.
They look cool.
And then the other guys I've primed is the little archery guys. Does that come up? Okay.
Yeah. Are these these are these metal? Are these the metal ones that you were talking about?
Yeah, the Claymore castings.
Claymore, castings. That's
which I really like. So I got the horse rider guys as well, like the horse archers that are mounting guys. It's just like a unit filler to stick in.
It's cool.
Which I think just adds a bit of theme. And they're just like, this is a group of sculpts, and like each one of these is different. And then I've got about 10 other ones that are also different and unique. So there's so much character in these. There's some of them like holding bows over their shoulder or unpacking their bow that's covered in a leather sort of pouch and stuff. Or there's lots of little thematic sort of elements to them, which I really like. So that was what I've done there. Now I wonder if I can pull up. Let's see. So if I do that, and go. All right. And then this is what I probably spent most of
people. Yeah,
I know. This is what I spent probably most of my week doing.
That's epic.
This is 120 hex tiles.
Wow, for the campaign. Wow.
I still probably got to print more, but this is taking quite a bit of time because my little Mars can. I managed to work out I could fit 9 on a tray. Like I printed these at 80%, about 65 to 68 degree tilt. Because these things, like when I'm printing stuff, I almost always support it myself. Like these come supported, but they're sitting at like a 20-degree tilt, so you can fit 2 on a plate. Which would take much longer to do because then the processing time is a longer. You got to rebuild it. You got to set the printer up again and go again. So the more you can fit on each plate, it improves the workflow and the efficiency massively. And I was able to work out if I can do this angle, it still prints really nicely. It actually minimizes the supports you need to deal with, and the supports on top of the tile are really minimal still anyway. But man, these tiles, I love them so much. Like I took some photos of just the close-ups.
Wow.
And like they just got
Jesus.
so pretty.
That is good.
It's going to be interesting to see how easy, because they do you think they're going to take, like, how are you going to paint them? Is it like going to be a lot of contrast and then just pick out the
so much better than that over the top view.
Yeah, that tree is awesome. That big
Yeah, that
bulbous tree
a big
thing.
world
I love
tree
'em.
thing. Yeah,
I
I think
can't
I think
believe
contrast.
That mill, the windmill, is just like
The little
Oh
windmill.
yeah. Oh
That
god, yeah, I
is-
didn't see that. Wow.
like, what the hell? Like that tile is so small, and it just looks like
Yeah, how big are
there's
these tiles?
so
Because you
much
reduced it,
detail.
did you say? Like how
I
wide?
reduced
Oh,
it
man.
by about 20%. So they're about 5 centimeters diameter each tile.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
they're
Still
small,
pretty big,
but
though. Yeah.
but
still pretty.
the details on them are incredible.
Mm.
So incredible.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll absolutely using contrast. I think contrast will definitely be the way to go, just to suck up all the detail without having to put in too much work in terms of getting the highlight, like getting the
These-
details come out.
Yeah. These look very detailed, these ones. Is there a lot of tiles that are more just plain and stuff? Like,
Yeah, there's some in
Yeah.
here that even in that photo I've got like
yeah, there's a couple there.
probably 4 or
yeah.
5 back, you can
And
see.
even this
Yeah.
one
I
right
probably
in
need to
front.
print more of the plain ones. Like basically what I've been doing is printing one of each tile.
Right.
So
Yeah,
this
wow.
whole thing is like one of each tile, just so I've got
Yeah,
the
yeah.
variety out, and
Yeah.
then I can go back and print more
Go,
of
I need-
like plains
yeah.
and stuff and forests if I need it.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's an incredible variety.
Yeah.
Mm.
Really, really sort of quite overwhelming. And
Yeah, it's
to a
awesome.
certain extent, I just wanted to get them out so I could just set them all down and go, okay, so what do I do now?
Yeah.
Like, how do I
Man,
build
that's
this
so
map?
good. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Because it works, it dictates a lot, in terms of how I structure this campaign, which is
Mm.
something that I want to start talking about a little bit, because I have been putting a lot of thought into this as well. Just how to structure it, how to set up the matchups, how to set up the scenarios, how the map interacts with the scenarios and that type of thing as well. Because yeah, like a lot of the campaigns that I've seen do have a slight limitation in that, a lot of the scenario variance is, you change it slightly based on how
Yeah.
big
Yeah.
your territories are and that type of thing. Like, yeah. But a lot of the scenarios are mainly pitch battles, and I want there to be a lot more variety in that regard. So, shall I go through what I've sort of come up with
Yeah,
at
do
this
that.
point?
Yeah.
Yeah.
First time us looking at it. Hopefully we can offer some thoughts. I don't know.
Yeah. I don't have much to look at. I'll dictate it
okay.
to you.
No, dictate. Yeah.
So I was thinking, I mean, it'd be about 12 turns, because we're doing it monthly and that'll be a year.
Yeah.
Yep.
And I'm thinking it'd be 3 of spring, 3 summer, 3 autumn, 3 winter. Actually, like if we're doing every month, it actually works out really well. Like you can literally just do.
Here we go. This is gold.
That means he's got to print. He's got to print multiple versions of all these tiles. Then
No,
way.
no, I'm not going to do a snow covered.
Oh, realistic.
No half efforts here, mate. Come on.
Oh my god, that'll be insane. That'll be insane. It's already insane. I don't know how I'm going to paint all this. So, because the reason I want a season is because I want to do every round a slightly different weather pattern. So like in spring there might be like maybe like a big rain thing where like the water terrain feature like enlarged from flooding or something like that. Or like there's a harvesting round, where certain territories get more generation of the resource that I'm going to use and that type of thing. In summer you might get a really hot round, everyone's like suppressive heat, lower leisure or something, stuff like that. Like, I don't know. I'm sort of need to sort of structure that a bit. Like, I haven't sort of ironed that out yet, but I feel like that's the component that I sort of interested in. Just having not just each separate game, but just like each round, I just like announce it before the round kind of thing, just as the GM. But to go into it a bit more, so the main structure of the actual each round will be like I want to do matchup generation where you have how do I phrase this? So each battle is basically someone has to choose another player to attack. The map itself should dictate a little bit in terms of the bonuses or penalties for how far away they are, or if you have to take a special route to get to that territory in terms of crossing rivers and stuff. Because when you elect someone to attack, you actually roll a 2d6, and that dictates the actual scenario that you play.
Right.
Right?
Yeah, right.
So, yeah, so
there's 11 scenarios or whatever, or 12 or whatever.
no, well, not 11, but
it's
there's
just different, right?
so
Some are more
different
popular than
range,
others.
different
Okay.
range.
Yeah.
So between 6 and 8, it's a pitched battle.
Mhm.
But 9 and 10, it's a flank attack, where the attacker can have a sort of a vanguard sort of income on the side. 11 or 12, I want to do a last stand.
Cool.
So which is like, one of those special ones that you just hardly ever see. 5 is a meeting engagement, which would be like 1 tile out from the defending tile. 4 would be an ambush, where the defender can nominate any tile between the other territories to ambush on. And then 2 or 3 would be a counter attack, where it's actually flipped, so the defender actually becomes the attacker and they roll again on the thingo. Now that roll. Now I've decided that how the actual territories work is you get like the resource would be like gold coins that you can spend on modifying that roll, basically. So if you have more territories, you're actually able to push that roll up or down.
Right.
A little bit,
Just the logistics. Do those tiles have like a way to mark the territory? Is that what?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I've got little flags.
Yeah. Cool. Okay. Yeah.
That I'll stick in there.
Yeah.
So that way you can do that. So where was I? So you can spend gold coins to do it. There's a few other modifiers like scouts will give you +1. The further you go, it's going to give you -1. So pluses or minuses is like basically if you're the attacker, the higher it is, the more in your favor, I suppose, and the lower it is, the more it's in the defender's favor, because then you can get to ambushes or reverse the rolls. So now that's sort of like the crux of setting up the engagement as such. Now I've also got a lot of other modifiers in terms of actual territory type. So different territories will give you other sort of benefits or negatives. So like if you're attacking like a village, you might be able to take certain extra bonuses, like you can take away a piece of terrain from the other side of the board and put in like a defender obstacle, that type of thing if you want. And you can get garrison bonuses where you can get extra 200 points of garrison. And that leads me into the army lists, because this is actually another thing. This is a big thing that I was trying to work out as well. Because I want, with the army lists, because as I was saying, like all those scenarios, they're very variable in size, so like your last stand is like often it's two times the number of points, 2 to 1, or an ambush is I think 1 to 1.5 kind of thing. So I'm kind of looking at structuring the army lists in a sort of a slightly strange way, because there's a few different ways I could do this, right? So the one way I'm thinking about doing it is where you have, a core army of about 1,250 points, and then you have a vanguard and a rear guard. So the vanguard will be at 700 points, and the rear guard will be at 500 points. And so, depending on the scenario,
army for that.
Well, I've not necessarily an army in itself, but certain restrictions. So, like a vanguard, you would have 1+ core, up to 2 special, up to 1 rare. The core army, you would have 2 core, up to 2 special, up to 1 rare, and a lord, and up to 3 characters. The rear guard, you could have any number of core, 1 special, 1 rare, kind of thing. I've been trying to think of how to structure that. That's one big thing, because there's a lot of edge cases that I have to work out. Like when you've got army where it's got a 0 to 1 choice, or it can take 2 units for 1 slot, or it can take multiple slots for 1 unit. Like this is a 6-ed structure, by the way. Like I haven't definitely decided on 6-ed. I think that was sort of when I was asking the throw goers, they were leading that way, but I haven't definitely made that decision. I could easily go to Oldwell. I think you sort of have to
it'll
give
be
it a
pretty
few more
similar
months.
anyway. Like Yeah.
So the way that works is, so like for instance, with the scenarios, different scenarios you can shoot. You take different lists, right? So, for instance, the pitch battle is for the attacker, the core and vanguard versus the defender, core and rear guard.
Gotcha.
The last stand is the attacker, core, vanguard, and rear guard versus the defender's core only. The ambush, the attacker just gets the core, the defender gets the core and vanguard. So it's all different sort of outputs. And different interactions. Because the other part of it, and the reason why I didn't go for like you have 3 whole separate lists, is because I want to have an element. This is what I was talking about the other week. I want to have an element of character development, or rules for character get experiences and getting new skills and stuff. And if you have 3 separate lists or 4 separate lists, it doesn't quite work that well. You know what I mean? Because then you've just got a different army list. So that's why I prefer to have some persistency with your core lists. But my hesitation with it slightly, the structure of that is, it is a slightly novel way of building your army list. You know what I mean? Because you've got 3 different working parts, and you might not take what you don't know if you're going to be taking core and rear guard or core and vanguard, and sometimes you won't. You'd be going, oh, this is a core part of my army, but I'll put it in the vanguard. But then suddenly you're playing with the rear guard and it's kind of thing. So it might be restricting a little bit. Yeah. So that's why I'm like, oh, do I structure like this, or do I go for something slightly different? So it's a bit more sort of consistent. That was definitely one thing that I was hoping to get some feedback on, actually.
No, I like the idea. I was just wondering, and I don't know how all this overly works, but and how it interacts with the tiles, but can you get more flexibility to adjust and move things around between games if you have different types of tiles and stuff? Do you know what I mean? Like more flexibility around, I'm just thinking, imagine if you captured certain resort like mines and stuff, whatever. So therefore now you can maybe change out and get some more war machines, things like that. Is that something that you're still going to be able to do, or are you just stuck with that army list for 12 months?
I certainly wasn't.
I guess
I certainly wasn't thinking of being stuck with the army list at all. If anything, I wasn't thinking about
do up an army list for that month, but when you roll the scenario, you might not be playing with it all. That's what you're saying.
Yeah, that's true. Because then it's if you got rules like persistent rules like veterancy and that type of thing, I could potentially do something like the core is consistent, but you could change the vanguard or rear guard around, that type of thing. That might give you some flexibility. That might work. That's a good point. I'll have to think about that. Because I don't want.
Pretty cool to have a blank and I guess it's not a slow growth, so it's not really related. But it'd be cool to have fairly core as in core, normal core. Your army doesn't have a lot of special and rare, but the better you are, or the more resources you end up with, you're able to get those things more. And then maybe, depending on the types of things you've got, you're able to you may be able to adjust those army lists, or maybe you're not. If you don't have those gold or whatever, then therefore you're stuck with that list for the next one. That's a good question, because I mean the what I'm wary about is giving too many bonuses to people who have got quite a few territories. If they've won a few games and ahead. The problem with these campaigns is it can snowball really badly. That's why my thought was, if the resource is something that it gives you a slight advantage, it helps you to dictate what type of scenario the outcome is. Yeah. And that resource also is something that, so you can affect that engagement role, and then it can also affect, there's another role that I'm going to go into a little bit. You can also pay to affect. And then if you've got any gold coins left over, it gives you a free reroll during the game that you can use as well. So there's a few nice little bonuses that you can get from it, but there's nothing that's going to decisively snowball it out of control.
if anything, I feel like there should be more penalties the more territories you have, in a way.
Yeah, you sort of like
Yeah.
there's more to manage and stuff. Yeah.
Because you need to have a rubber banding effect. Because if you get a couple of people
Yes.
that start to dominate super early on, I feel like, and that's what can affect the enjoyment of it. I think that's what can make people actually start to sort of lose a bit of interest in it if they feel they're not sort of being competitive. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I want there to be a structure where at least people that are doing okay. I mean, they're getting some bonuses, but they're not going to be dominating each game they had. Which, there's a balance about that. I did like in the pack that was it Luke? Did you say the center pack?
I think it was Luke. Yeah.
That was a heavily Mighty Empires pack that had a lot of rules about you got little different armies that move around, and if they hit other people, then they chart, like then all the different raising and stuff, and like it was really cool. I did like that in the random event thing that he had that you roll each turn. I think a lot of the events were penalties or stuff that would benefit people with fewer territories.
Yeah.
Were sort of hidden in there.
Yeah.
But it actually would specifically go, the person with the most territories gets his penalty.
Yeah.
And I think that was good. Like again, like I think it's a big trap for these games. You just you don't want to have certain people dominating just because they're ahead on territory. But yeah, the main vehicle I want this for is just to have interesting, asymmetrical scenarios and sort of natural sort of almost like procedurally generation of unusual narratives basically to come out of
it's and end up going to have stories out of it. Yeah, that's right. It's not that
that's what I want.
Yeah,
you could kind of have in the pack, but like at the end of the day, you could be the dungeon master. So if there needs to be a bit more of an equilibrium, you could always have events like world events happen, or like so you could have old mate's getting his butt kicked, but then his unlikely allies, and then all of a sudden he's got a bonus of whatever just to try and bring him back up. Or if you get somebody against somebody who's a tough opponent, they've got more territories, or they're just dominating the game, it might be good sometimes just to throw in a little bit of spice, like just some extra allies, or just something like a random event, that can tailor the campaign as it's evolving. Because obviously it's a bit hard to judge sometimes how these things are gonna. So I think that would be a good thing to like. Well, at the end of the day, we're gonna follow these rule set, but just remember, there might have to be some little.
You know how when you play tournaments with, I mean, I haven't done it, but Horus Heresy, where there's always the traitors and legions, legions, traitors and loyalists. Could you ever do, depending on like who's going to play the campaign, could you do something similar to that, where you end up with like multiple chaos armies that they're doing, and they're playing individually, but they're actually are together in some sense versus the other ones, like to have an overall narrative that's not just random armies fighting, but it's actually a bigger thing.
The problem with that is I don't know who's going to turn up every month.
Yeah.
And if it's just like 3 guys from one side and 1 guy from the other side, unless I had specific rules accounting for Civil War.
You could still you could still.
Which I guess I could.
Whatever, but I was just wondering if there was something where, just to try to keep it a little bit even, that even if one was losing because they're on that side, then I don't know. I was just trying to, because like it is all about a narrative a little bit, and it'd be interesting if I don't know. I was sort of, when you talked about this last week, I was thinking it'd be cool, like depending on the race you have, you get slightly different rules. Like Beastmen aren't, maybe they're not even looking at getting territories; they're just looking at causing chaos.
Just chaos,
wiping people out. So depending, and that's even more complexity because you have to look at
that's pushing the scope up beyond what I can put together, unfortunately.
Have you got a setting? Is this within the realm of
it's probably gonna be
Warhammer as such? Like, as in like
Border Princes,
like
I feel.
Border. So you do have like a
Yeah.
So it's not going to be some like made up area. It'll be like a specific realm within the
no
Warhammer fantasy.
It will be Border Princes. Yeah.
That's a pretty good spot. Pretty central, isn't
it?
Central for the mayhem.
Yeah.
Well, have you got? Is there? How far? Like what else are you trying to work on then with it? I mean, you've still got months until you kick this off, though, do you? So
but I'm just trying to get as much as I can together, you know.
Yeah.
So the other thing that I've put together is, so with the territory types also, it also dictates. I'm trying to put together a random event table, which has got 6 different themes, I guess, and each territory you might roll on a specific theme sort of pattern, or you might randomize which one you roll off and that type of thing. So it's almost like I started off with a D66 sort of list, and then I was like, oh, why not make it so the first 6 might dictate which table you go on, and then you roll another 6 like D6. So I've got like the 1 is like sabotage and treachery type stuff. 2 is like ill omens. 3 is like natural phenomenon like avalanches and stuff. 4 is like scouting rolls and stuff, because I want to run it as a hidden list thing. So if you get successfully scout, you know, you can see what the lists are. 5 would be like mercenaries, where like you might generate either neutral things or you know, things that might come to fight for you. And 6 is like, you know, specific and like bizarre sort of I like the traveling minstrel concept from the pack that got sent in, and I sort of want to stick that in there. And the wandering hero one was another one that I really liked as well, which is basically where you get a character just generated for free and just lives with your army until he dies. So he's just like persistent. Which I love that concept. So you know, that I'd like that. So that could be generated through like, so like I feel like the top level, that Traveling Minstrel and the Wandering Hero stuff. Did you remember there was a circus themed tile in one of the windmill? There was a big circus tent. And I feel like that'd be a good.
I'm trying to work out what it was.
It was a circus tent. I feel like that'd be a good tile to be generating like the minstrels and stuff.
Yeah.
So yeah, I feel like that's because I was trying to work out how do I do other sort of
get old dandelion joining your little merry band.
Yes, other bizarre. Yeah, so I got that, and then I think I was also trying to work out, you know, what bonuses you would get for if you've got very few or no territories left, because I don't think I'm not intending to include an elimination, but I feel like if you end up with no territories, you end up like becoming like a guerrilla warfare type thing, where you would get automatic attacks, you get bonuses for attacks, and then you can like sort of take things out, which I think, and then potentially you could have people like donating you gold coins to pay you to nominate an attack
or get this economy building.
I'm intending to print off coins, by the way, so people have to physically like spend these coins to get the bonuses.
That is good.
Which should be fun. So yeah, that's where I'm at with it. Like, so as you can see, I've been thinking about this quite a bit.
A lot of work.
I've been putting quite a bit of work into this. Hopefully I can get it, you know, structured in a way that actually makes sense and people actually enjoy.
How many people do you reckon will be like? Is it usable for like how many people? Like, because I don't even know with Mighty Empires, like how many people would actually play it? Is it like is it 8 or is it 10 or is it?
I think it was up to 8.
Okay,
8 maybe 10. I think.
Yeah. Okay.
For Mighty Empires. But the thing was, like, with this, I'm trying to structure it so that hopefully it doesn't really matter how many people are playing, if you know what I mean. Like, the thing with Mighty Empires was you was only so far you can move those armies around each hex. Yeah. So you only go like 3 or 4 hexes each turn, you know? So geographically, the bigger it is, it becomes very impractical if you've got lots of players.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping for this rule set to be flexible enough that it can adapt to very few players or quite a few players, you know.
Mm.
And it's almost like just, you know, it's almost something you could use to just generate scenarios from almost, you know, like that's almost what I'm aiming for. Like I'm almost like the theme of it is not so much that you're like the empire of the army, almost like you're just one of the generals in that race that are just going, okay, I'm commanding this army, you know, and this is I'm doing my best for, you know, the king or whatever, you know, like that's almost like that's like the scope that I'm trying to run it at, you know.
Yeah.
So I feel like that's how we play the game, isn't it?
We're gonna have to get some updates on this as you get.
I'll try to make the next one a lot shorter.
Are you going to obviously get? And the other thing, I guess, is get it up. We should get it up somewhere as you're doing it, like in terms of on a website or a Google Doc or something that people can view it and contribute to it a bit or whatever. That'd be cool.
Yeah, I can put it on a
Josh's
Google Doc.
Campaign. Josh's campaign system.
Josh's campaign. Work in progress, for sure.
Oh, well, should we kick on quickly? Just have a chat about meta stuff then before we close out.
Sure. The meta.
So I'll bring up just my screen in case we need to share anything. But obviously, people are listening. It's been what have I done here? What have I got?
There are some lovely charts making their way around.
Yeah, well, I mean, I thought start there. I mean, I know. So there was the mayor. Who was the guys? Was it Wohammer doing the actual? Originally doing some of the analysis.
I believe
of win
so.
rates?
Yeah.
And I guess the thing that Rob did with, as far as I understand, anyway, with what's this doing now? I'm sharing the whole. I think I'm doing my wrong screen here. I am. Sorry, I've screwed that up. The Rob was talking about like they were stopping. Basically, they were only sharing or recording certain types of like, you know, I think it was only GTs and stuff, like to try and be a bit more specific. So it's that one. So I've got like a virtual screen. It makes it easier for me to move it around and stuff without screwing it up. This is so as a result, I think Squarebase is going to try and keep a track of their stuff, but they're only looking at I don't know, was it, these are just the graphs on this page. Hey, yeah. I'm pretty sure it was just like 2-day, it had to be like 5-game GTs, you know, that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
Just to try and get a bit more accurate. Like, we're not accurate, but I mean, if we think 2K is going to be where most tournaments land, then this is sort of just what they've been looking at. But yeah, I mean, there is other ones like to probably consider in terms of tournaments and analyzing like what people are taking, even if it is not that, because I know that some of the Games Workshop ones had fairly large numbers, but they were only 1,500 point ones and stuff, so it just depends on, you know, what you guys are interested in. But overall, do you want to just start there? Basically, the very early days, I guess the first thing is, this stuff even bloody useful? I guess there's a bit of debate out there, people whinging about whether or not you should even track this stuff, but I don't know. I find it kind of interesting just to see.
There's a theme, like there's definitely a theme, and it kind of shows in the data across the board that even before and after, because they've had win rates before and after the FAQs and whatnot. And it's very sort of similar in a I think there's a definite trend, and I think anybody could really agree with that. At the end of the day, it's like, oh, you know, this and that, but yeah, you got Warriors of Chaos, Beastmen up the top. Basically, anybody with the monsters tend to be like, or I won't say the monsters, the dreaded Dragon Lords tend to be towards the top.
Yeah. Overall meta representation. Well, let's actually start there, because this is interesting. I think this is what Squarebase did actually too, when they were talking about this. They're looking at, again, it's a pretty small sample size, so you can't go much off it, but like the ones down the bottom are very much legacy armies. The ones at the top obviously are supported ones, which is obviously one of the things you notice straight away. even though when you think about getting an army together, some of those legacy ones are easier to put together than the supported ones, just because you can grab the figures. Like you can
already got them.
You can bring an ogre, Skaven ogres. They're all available. Lizardmen, but it's obvious, at least with the tournaments there's tracking here, they're just people are steering clear a little bit by the sound of it.
Yeah.
It's a little worrying.
It's a testament to how popular vampire counts are, that they're still mid-table there, despite the fact they're a legacy army.
Yeah, vamps are pretty popular. Everyone loves good vamp.
Yeah, you know how there was that rumor though that with the expansion of the scope of the project that vamps might be the first one off the bat. So hopefully maybe people are like that. That's but
I think but I mean, like looking through that, but if you were going to get the overall representation of fantasy back in 8th, besides probably Skaven, I reckon Skaven would be up there. You're still going to have ogres, chaos dwarves, obviously would be right down the bottom. Yeah, you got a few lizardmen and whatnot, but I think dark elves, ogres, and demons and lizardmen were probably lesser represented in 8th. But Skaven. It
depends when it was. I remember there was that period where demons and dark elves were like, they were very powerful and always up there. You might be right. You're talking about in terms of quantity of armies,
just numbers. Quantity of people bringing them. Because I didn't see it have a lot of. It could just be where you live as well, but around legions and whatnot, I didn't see a lot of ogres and dark elves.
I didn't see a lot of ogres. I saw
a couple lizardmen.
Yeah, I used to. Dark elves were a little bit up there, but that's because they got. I mean, all the elves got. They're pretty good books in 8th, and obviously in 6th and 7th. So
I was thinking the two armies around. You didn't see much in 8th were the two of the top 3 there, which is Bretonnians and Beastmen.
Yeah.
The two armies that didn't get a book from like 6th, I think it was 7th. They both had awful books that 8th had. Beastmen especially, you hardly ever saw them in 8th ed.
Nah, agreed.
Yeah, no, but then Tomb Kings dropped off as well.
I think I saw Tomb Kings once.
It doesn't surprise me that Warriors is up there. It's the easiest, quickest army to get on the table and the most available technically. So it's no surprise at all. Plus, it's stereotypical Warhammer, so it doesn't. I think we're an outlier in that none of us have a Chaos Army. Is that right? But it seems pretty. Most people you talk to have something. So
I've got a slightly chaotic army.
Yeah, true.
Yeah.
A variant.
I don't know. Like it's just in terms of overall win rates. I mean, again, these are so early. I'm not sure there's even too much to talk about, but obviously. They're going along with this idea that it's supposed to sit in the 45 to 55 percentile range and stuff. I agree with all that. I think it's interesting, but at the same time, like obviously these guys have no control. Like whoever's doing the meta, not Square Base, but anyone recording this stuff, they really have no push to. They have no say in how to control that. You know what I mean? Like it's not like whereas Games Workshop do with AOS and 40K. So. But I don't know. It's it's showing Warriors are up there just at the top. I mean, if anything, it's fairly healthy. It's just down the bottom there when you get Empire Man and Dark Elves there. It's a bit weird. Vampire counts there at 39%. Empire Man's 38 and Dark Elves 33. I think this is just it's such a small sample size that I don't know how much to read into.
Yeah, I think it comes down to models as well. Like I could see. Dwarven holds, you're going to have people coming from 6th edition. They're not going to have your Iron Drakes, which are your premier unit, things like that. It could just come down to your models you've got. But
and the other thing is I'm not sure. I mean, this is just the images that they share, but they did talk a bit more about it. I just can't remember what they said, but what comps, I guess. It feels like with AOS and 40K, because Games Workshop are so, basically they're running the most, the big ones at least. There is no comp. Like it's just the game because they balance it and it's the data slates and stuff. I don't know how much comp happens, but with Old World, if it doesn't go that way, you always end up with like, some of these will have like the rule of 3 and other tournaments won't. So it's like, how do you blend that together? It's a bit weird.
Yeah.
Not to discourage it. I think it's important, but you just got to take it all with a grain of salt, because it's hard to say that one army is better than the other if they're limited more because they were played in tournaments that were more comped. I don't know.
Yeah.
I thought it might be interesting to look at some of the recent ones and just sort of what did take the top places, and have a quick look and see if anything's
lists.
related to these, if that sounded cool. Like the Midland, so let's do the funny one. So the Midland GT that happened, is this one?
Oh, yeah, man, these are...
Yeah. So they had the top 3 old
These
world lists from the
lists.
Midland GT that just came out. So the first place was a Orc and Goblin tribe. What did they have? Let's have a look through here. So they had Night Goblin Big Boss as a battle standard bearer, Nogget, Odd Knob, Orc War Boss, sort of on a wyvern, so that's cool. We've got 10 goblins, 5 wolf riders, 30 night goblins with fanatics, 40 night goblins, fanatics, 6 night goblins, squig herd, 5 night goblins, squig hoppers, a goblin bolt rod, 2 doom divers. So not is that only it's only 6 fanatics and 1 wyvern.
Yeah, that's a nice list, isn't it?
It's not too bad.
That is.
Yeah.
Blocks of infantry and...
Good generalship.
Yeah.
Right there.
It's not over the top. There's no maxing anywhere in that.
Who had that?
list,
Who's old mates? Got his name?
plug that list into 6 ed, wouldn't
Norden.
look out of place
Yeah.
at all.
And he got 5
Well
wins,
done, sir.
like win.
Yeah.
This one was on New Recruit, I think. So it's this one, the Bids GT. And Keith Wilkinson it is, and
Well done, Keith.
5-0, and the closest only had 3 wins, so it's pretty cool.
Wait,
Yeah.
Isn't that a Wood Elf list?
Oh, that's a different one. Hang on, I'm on the wrong
Oh,
one.
Yeah, it's a different one.
This is not Midlands. World's First GT. Who's this? Oh, this is the
March.
Swedish one. Sorry, I've got the wrong one.
Ah,
Yes.
Swedish.
Yeah, this one's Swedish. That's hence the name, Norden. Maybe I'm in the wrong page then. Yes, because that's the Wood Elf one. Look, where's the other one? Where's the Midland one? Sorry, I had the wrong one. It's the same website, but it's just slightly different.
Yeah.
Sorry, guys. We that was a good
Wood
list.
Elves
Though. It was a
came
nice,
first.
balanced,
It was very
Goblin
good.
one. But yes, the Midland GT. Sorry, first place was Keith Wilkinson with a Wood Elf list. That's right. He had the Glade Lord on a dragon. Yes, with the Ogre Blade, Annoyance of Netlings.
Yes,
What's the Annoyance of
more
Netlings do now? Is it just -1 to hit or something? Or is
I think it's
-1
-1 to hitting combat or
challenge?
something. Yeah, it's not 6 hitting a challenge anymore.
Yeah. Spellweaver Ruby Ring on foot.
That'd be disgusting.
Yeah.
Challenge.
Well, it is that in 6
Well, it
ed.
is in 6.
It is that.
Yeah.
It is disgusting, especially when you put it on Stream in Action. Oh my god. Anyway.
And then, the core units is 11 Deepwood Scouts, Hagbane, 10 Deepwood Scouts, Hagbane, 8 Glade Guard, Hagbane, 7 Glade Guard,
All got
Hagbane.
Hagbane. Oh my
So
god.
Poison. 9 Deepwood Scouts with Hagbane, 5 Wild Riders, 5 Wild Riders. I'm not sure what all these banners do, so
Just
I won't
shitty,
go into that. And 2
shitty,
Sisters of the
shitty.
Thorn. So, just a lot of shit.
Shitty avoidance.
Probably
Shitty
also have
avoidance.
poison as well. Don't they? Don't they thorns,
Yeah,
don't they
yeah.
jump poison? Oh
Yeah.
my god.
Yeah.
And a dragon.
Oh,
just
and then a
go
dragon.
and
Oh
beat
my
people
god.
up.
The dragon.
Yeah.
Oh
So
my
you
Just mopping it up.
obviously,
Whatever's left.
performed pretty well though. Yeah, 5 zip. So
Yeah.
let's just click on
Yeah.
this. So 12-8, 18-2, 20 zip, 16-4, 16-4. So pretty good. His first game was actually the closest, and he played.
Is that
He
the
played
dwarf one?
the second place. That's
Second
why.
place.
Which is, we'll get into that. That's the fun one.
Oh, is
So
that
the only
why?
closest, his closest win was against this list. Which is
that's the
a-
other reason it was close, was it? Okay.
Probably,
Sorry, go on.
It's the Dwarven
just
Mountain
shooting each
Elves. So
other.
this one is
It's just
Causing
a
some
Mexican.
issues.
Even worse. Even worse.
so General's Amber Doom, and then core units. So that's the only characters. Amber Doom, 235 points.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Hero
And
Hammer.
that's-
Where's the Hero Hammer at?
And that's because he's got 5 quarrelers, 5 quarrelers, 5 quarrelers, 5 quarrelers, 5 quarrelers, 5 quarrelers, 5 quarrelers. 10 rangers.
Oh my
Bolt throw,
God.
bolt throw, bolt throw, bolt throw.
Oh.
2 gyrocopters, 2 gyrocopters, 2 gyrocopters, 1 gyrocopter, 1 gyrocopter. 5 iron drakes with iron.
It's these iron drakes get me.
Five,
Is it,
five
is it
iron drakes,
5
5
units
iron
of iron
drakes,
drakes?
Yeah, 5 units of iron drakes with iron.
5 troll torpedoes. Oh my God.
Yeah.
I'm doing it wrong. I'm only doing 3. What am I doing?
And then, and so that's what's that? 8 gyrocopters, like, and 3 bolt, 4 bolt throwers,
Four
and
bolt
how many was
throwers.
that? 6 quarrel units, 7 quarrel units of 5.
5. Oh.
There's method to the madness for sure. Because, I mean, how many points are you getting out of those quarrel units? You're spending all that time trying to chase one down.
No,
and
you're right. Like
55 points.
Yeah, this is it's that you know how I was talking about the Death Star. Then obviously the other one's just you just have units that even if you
come get
you can only
55
fight
points.
4 combats, 5 combats in a game, and if you're only getting a certain amount of points.
Yeah.
Oh,
But pretty. I mean, you don't want that as a. I don't know. I don't know. It's you got to have this at the beginning of the edition, but at some point, you need to.
You can't keep having it. It just wouldn't feel like you're playing Warhammer.
Yeah.
It feels like
Look,
these lists would fit in AOS almost, like.
I'm not a fan of the dwarf list, but I did see one comment because obviously there's lots of comments in here. I'm like, everyone's slagging out the dwarf list, but nobody was really getting on the wood elf list, which was
I think the wood elf list is just as bad.
avoidancy.
Yeah,
I
agree.
Just as much avoidance. Like at least the dwarves can't move. Like
that's right. Yeah, you could eventually get.
Where am I going? I got 3 inches and then I can't shoot. So it's like, well,
the wood elf list is there's no combat. I mean, apart from the 2 wild riders, I guess, but apart from that, everything just clouds of poison shooting.
Yeah,
and the bloody dragon again. Yeah. Neither of those, this will be fun to play against.
Now, interestingly, actually, I should have a look at that. So this dwarf one did lose the last game too. So he was okay, and they're all played it. Well, obviously, So the 3rd place beastman, I'm guessing, is him. Yeah, Kevin Weaver. Yeah. So, I mean, at least they all ended up having to bash each other over the head, I guess. Which is
this is an alright list. Yeah, I looked at this before. I'm like, Kevin did alright. He's got a...
Yeah, so he went 3-2 as well, was it? Yeah. I know 3-1-1 with the beastman. Great Braid Shaman on foot with Hag Tree, 13 Gore Hordes, 4 Razor Gored Herds, so 2 of them, 3 Tuskor Chariots, and then 2 units of 4 Dragon Ogres, 3 units of 5 Harpies, and a Dragon Ogre Shaggot. So it's pretty, I mean, us having done the review the other day, Andrew,
it's Dragon
pretty,
Ogres.
the only thing that I thought was different here.
They kill you.
Is
really badly. The Razor Gores,
Oh, they're good. We were just wondering whether or not you'd take him in the 1s still more, and you'd maybe just have a big gore unit, where he's gone like, actually don't mind what he's done. I don't think it's dirt. Like, so a lot of people take the single Dragon Ogre Shoutouts and just like pump them out. Like he hasn't done any of that. So
Chariots in Core is nuts. Like I find Chariots in Core is just fantastic because, I mean, who doesn't? When can't you put a chariot in a list? Like, there's so many lists you're just like, oh, I've got 2 shit units and 1 half decent expensive unit. It's like, sometimes you're trying to get core, you're just like, you don't.
Well, that's what 8th was like, like you had crap in core, and then you didn't see the chariots and stuff because all the other stuff in special or rare was better than that unit, like that single chariot, so you didn't get as many of them. Now I feel like there's more options to get better units in core, or in this case, obviously with Beastmen, they've always been able to probably have chariots, I'd imagine, in core. I know, was it Chaos? I think you always used to have this flip-flop where sometimes you could take, like 6th edition, you could have a chariot in core, and then 7th you couldn't, and then 8th you could. It was something like that, whether or not you could put a chariot in core. But this Beastman one doesn't look over the top.
It's got so many small units that are fast and little light threats, which I guess is almost like, I can see why he beat the dwarf list in a way, because it's so many little
harpies and chariots,
really fast moving and just enough to take off small units of dwarves.
It's
Who's the shaman?
interesting,
Is
apart from
he-
the oh, sorry, you're right.
Oh, I was going to say he's in the gore herd. I was trying to work out where he
Yeah,
was.
like apart from the forest dragon one, none of these guys went overboard on characters. They just spammed the units.
The good units.
Yeah.
Dragon
definitely.
Ogre's a good unit. I'm surprised he's got units of 4. I thought he
Well,
might
that's
have
the
had units
thing.
of 2.
Yeah, that's what I thought was
2 units of 2 or...
and maybe that worked well. Like, yeah, actually, I don't know. With all that shooting, you sort of wonder if it's better to have them split up against you, because like you said, you have to like commit to you're going to kill so many, you know.
And then you get the more combat res from the close order. I don't even know if they're close order, I'm guessing, but
Yeah,
I can't remember.
But yeah,
It's
no,
only one,
that was an interesting one. I don't know if it's worth having a look at. Oh no, the Richmond Open had some interesting lists. I think so. The Richmond Open, the Kingdom of Ratonia won that one, which is interesting. I don't know if it was easy to look at the list on this, but they basically had a hippogriff and a peg character. Again, just the only 2 characters, although they are.
No, they got the Green
no,
Knight in there
Green
as well.
Knight. Okay, that's why.
Yeah,
Sorry,
which
I
is
thought that
really
was a
good.
separator. I was going to say, had that up to 917. Yeah, so no, good. And then Falcon Horn's in here as well, so that's probably helped him.
Lots of shooting.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that-
and then
that
just lots of
BSB
little units.
Yeah, lots of units. Yeah, the BSB build's interesting too because it's given the war banner too, which I can see that role is just to add in a whole bunch of static combat res to whatever he gets involved in, which is cool. Yeah, so much. What's that? 4 units of 10 bowmen.
Yeah, I should read it out just for the listeners.
All skirmishing.
There's a basically. Is that a Duke? Yeah, Duke, because he's got the names of the things, so it makes it a bit hard to read. So it's a Duke on a hippogriff with Grommel, Great Helm, Healing Potion,
Duke
Virtual
Rassard,
Heroism.
thank you very much.
And then the BSB Paladin with War Banner on a Royal Peg
Gazelle,
with Falcon Horn
Paladin,
and
Gazelle.
the Green Knight. Yeah, Paladin Gazelle.
If he's gone to the effort of
Blackthorn.
putting a name on it, you got to at least name him.
Yeah, true. I'm skimming
True.
it.
You're going to name all the bowmen.
And then he's I can't even say that.
Carcassonne's finest.
Carcassonne's finest.
Carcassonne's finest, 10 of them,
Cool.
and then 10 of the Volts Garrison,
Oh,
10 of the
nice.
Turnips of Fairhaven. These are all longbow skirmishers. 10 Morgana's Crows. And then
nice.
6 Sir Gallant's Table of 6. I guess they're just Knights of the Realm, I'd imagine.
I think they're Knights of the Realm. Yeah.
Yeah. And then 5
Yeah, pretty sure.
Carcassonne's
And
Knights
5
of the
Knights
Realm. And then 2 lots of Peg
Carcassonne's.
5s. The Knights,
Yes,
Knightly Bards of
5.
the Pegasus Sunflower and Knightly and
Ooh.
Poets of the Pegasus Moon.
What's the
But
name?
I mean, you know, the 2 units of 5. Basically, the 2 units of 5.
I
Peg
love this
Knights
guy.
And
There you
these
go.
2 heroes are just going around and picking their fights and sending sending in the Realm Knights.
Is that
It's a pretty good list.
Luna Valentine? Is that the name? That's fantastic.
Yes.
So
as well.
poetic. So
Yeah.
poetic. There you go.
It's pretty good.
That is.
And then Phil.
I'm seeing less and
came
less Ground Knights around.
Second, yeah,
Mm.
true. This this list had the Tomb Kings came second with a double Necrolith Bone Dragon list. So
Double
basically,
Bone
Yes,
Dragon.
of course.
High Priest
yeah.
level 4 on Necromancy, and then obviously the normal Tomb
Yeah.
King.
Mm.
I was a bit confused with this one, although he came second, so he knows what he's doing. Potion of Speed, when the Tomb King can get a D3 initiative anyway. Is that what Potion of Speed is?
Yeah,
Is it
Wouldn't it
D3?
be?
Is it? I can't
I'm
remember
pretty
what it
sure
is.
it's D3.
Found that
So-
interesting.
Do you add that on after you go back?
Maybe
Like
he
you're
soups
taking a
them
great
both up.
weapon. But great weapon takes you back to 1. Do you add that on after?
I think so. Yeah, because it sets your initiative.
D3
characteristics
initiative.
to 1, and then you D3 it up. I think.
Yeah, but wouldn't that just change your initiative to whatever, and then you take a great weapon, it goes back down to 1?
Oh, I don't know. I think it goes the other way, and that's probably why he's doubled it up. So then he can
Yeah,
get it
okay.
up to 6 or something, as usual, 7, I guess, if you roll high. Yeah.
Roger.
So that would be why. Well, at least for that one.
Well, it's got a
combat,
hand weapon as well, so yeah.
But yeah, just 10 skeleton archers, and then 8 skeleton chariots that cause terror, and then 3 tomb scorpions, 2 necrosphinx. So I mean, you've got 4 bloody terror-causing, flying around monsters with this guy, just with chariots going in somewhere with some tomb scorpions. So pretty fast and probably simple to play. Not simple to play, but like simple to, like there's not a lot to it, if you know what I mean. Like you don't have a heap of units.
It's a good list. I actually don't mind it.
Probably went pretty well.
Something fun, yeah.
And then we got Demons of Chaos. I can't read this list out because it's too confusing. Just the formatting of it. But I just found it funny that it was good to see Demons of Chaos because I hadn't seen them anywhere, and they coming third. In, I think a fairly big tournament, which is good. A lot of Slanesh in it, by the look of it. Oh, I can't read that out. It's just too mangled.
It's really mangled.
Yeah.
Oh, it's not just a dot. I thought it was a dot point for each one. There was a single. Because he had a herald.
Yeah, it is. It's just you got to
there's a herald, and then there's a keeper of secrets.
Yeah.
And then there's
got 5 Chaos Furies.
5
Chaos Furies. What's this one? Seekers of Slanesh.
Dot point there.
It gets confusing. I don't know.
Yeah, because there's more dot points.
No, but it's, I don't know. Like, is there any lists or any other tournaments that you saw that had interesting lists that are worth mentioning that are either showing, that dragons are still coming out to play, or I mean, here's a double casket came 4th, double casket list for Tomb Kings, which is pretty cool. Not sure they had the Bone Dragon. I don't know if he did on this one. No, he had the big block of 48 archers, probably with poison, because this Necrotech, he's got double Necrotech, so. Oh, because he's got Tomb Guard as well, so he's obviously got an Necrotech in there as well, probably. And I'm guessing the poisons go in the archers initially. Maybe he does one of the things where you flick them around depending on what you need.
Can you only choose one poison for a Necrotech?
Oh, well, it's a magic item, Amulet of the Serpent. Yeah.
Oh,
yeah,
it's a single. Yeah, okay.
So he's put it on one Necrotech, but I don't know which one it was in, whether or not it's the Tomb Guard or the
Roger.
and Archers. I would have thought it's in the shooting, at least initially. But
you'd think so with 48 archers. You'd like to.
Yeah. And then the double casket, Screaming Skull, Necromancy. So, you can go for, sitting back, getting -1, -2 to hit, or you can throw in the Necromancy leadership debuffs with the Screaming Skull as well.
Yeah.
And shoot him with the casket. So, but he doesn't have the dragon, does he? No.
No.
So, yeah.
It's definitely, you can see the monsters are definitely in the topper echelons.
Yeah.
Very consistent.
I think. I thought the thing that I'm starting to see, and it probably makes sense, is you either got the monsters or people have gone skewed in some sense. Like either min-maxing, which is usually what happens. Max out some ridiculous thing. I think it's probably pretty common. It's what's going to happen, and I guess we'll just have to see as we play, as more of these GTs happen, whether or not there is some form of comp that starts settling in. Like, is rule of 3 going to be the thing? I don't know.
Yeah, I heard on Frank. Oh, sorry, I forget. The other day.
Did you listen to their Old World?
The rank
they came back. Yeah.
Yeah, I haven't listened to that one yet.
They were talking about possibly not allowing the 3-layer of saves as an alternate, so you could only take like the ward or regen for a monster. And I thought, well, that's I think that's quite fair. Just getting rid of one of those layers, at least. The problem is obviously with undead, when you're flammable, it doesn't really make any bloody difference, I suppose, because you're still going to have a ward, because usually your regen will be taken away. But it's got to be a flaming attack, of course. But
yeah, and plus you are spending the points for both. like buying the board when you might not use it sometimes. So it's probably I think it's pretty fair to do something like that. I think it's pretty interesting.
Yeah, I don't think it'd take much of a tweak. Like they could go slow and maybe say like, oh, you can only use the armor save of, the mount or something like that. Would obviously, take away those stupid saves from your Chaos Lord on your dragon.
Do you?
Well,
yeah. Sorry, no, that's cool. No, I think I was going to ask you something with the. Oh yeah, would you say the stacking thing? Or taking away the stacking, or not stacking, but the 3 levels of saves, is that just for monsters, or you just do that wholehearted across the whole game?
Yeah, you don't want to start subbing out. Obviously, the meta becomes chariots because
because now they can have it. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, I think it'd be across the board. Because the points costing just doesn't really seem to be in there for taking it into those monsters. Like,
The only other thing I'd say, which is, and I know it's early, so who knows if it'll change, but I feel like because this is still fantasy and there's so many options, unlike what's happening in 40k and AOS, where if there is a build that ends up being good, the lists look very similar because you don't have all the magic items to choose from and stuff. Whereas this is, the top list might still have big monsters, but they're all still very different. Like no one's gone and
agreed.
Like 9 gyrocopters aren't the best, so you see them in every dwarf army. Like it's not. I mean, you see the Iron Drakes, but you might just see 3 units. You might see 5. You might see 2. You'll still see Iron Drakes, but it's like, it's not.
It's competitive, but it's not like. I find 40k and Age of Sigmar, you just get there is maybe a little bit in the old world. Like obviously you're going to get in any competition, but you're always going to have those meta chasers. Just they'll go out and specifically buy that army or that combo. Oh, I'm going to get 5 units of Iron Drakes now because that's the meta. I'm going to get 2 Chaos Dragon. Just whatever it is. They specifically go out and target that, and then the rules change, and then they just target the next meta. And
I almost feel. Do you reckon it's hard to do that because it's just historically, you have to have more figures in fantasy, so you just can't. It's not as obvious.
Yeah, I think the scene's not there as well. Like, there's not as many, for a better word, knobs in fantasy is probably 40k, but they are like what I mean. Are you really a good player if like you're just seeing who's winning and just copying other people's lists? Like,
I mean, I don't. I've got an Orc army, but I've never played it, so I don't know. I don't know how much.
You see what's going all right, but I mean, you're not going to sell your Orc army and buy a Chaos Lord and a Dragon because he's But I feel like 40k and Age of Sigmar, there's definitely those people who specifically go out and buy models and armies because in that current edition it's strong, and then the next edition it's not good, and they just sell it off.
Yeah, they just sell it off and go to the next one.
Go on to the next one.
Just paint the Space Marine different color.
That's it.
It's. I don't even know. What else to say about the meta stuff. It's just I think you're starting to see a bit of a formation of what's at the top, but I don't know if you can read too much into it. It could be more the fact that that's the armies that are now available, or the ones that people had in their shed before when fantasy went. But you are then seeing just this, probably the fact that it's either min-maxing the really good choice or taking a monster is helping you at least get near the top, but potentially isn't the only way, obviously, because 2 of those 3 of those other ones didn't even have monsters. So don't know. What do you guys? Any other insight or any other lists you saw that were interesting?
I was just going to say, like, just with the FAQ, it is good that they're realizing, and the things that are way out of proportion, they are, FAQing. So there is insight there to try and even out the board a little bit. So it's just time.
Yeah, no, that's right. Yeah, and I think that's the thing. That like, if you're going to take anything away from it, it's like we need to measure this stuff. But I mean, don't try the 40k thing of trying to, Warriors of Chaos at the top, so therefore I'm going to go buy Warriors of Chaos Army. Like, I don't think we're anywhere close to knowing
Don't be
that's
a dick.
the way. Yeah, exactly.
Classic.
Yeah. Or just take what you like as well and just enjoy it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they've expressed a desire not to fiddle with things too soon either, in terms of FAQing or nerfing stuff, which I think sounds like they've almost been overzealous in doing for the 40k scene sometimes, or maybe react too quickly sometimes. So I guess it's not the worst thing. They sort of take their time before they.
Well, they slowed up AOS, didn't they? They cut back to 6 monthly, I think, because they were going a bit quick. And I think that game was pretty good, so they didn't have to like patch it. Whereas 10th edition 40k had some issues around that devastating wounds or whatever, so they sort of had to like nip that in the bud. But it's hopefully with Old World it's just a little bit dribble out when we don't even have all the armies yet, so it's going to take a while to even get them out. So.
Yeah, true.
Yeah.
And do you think, like, how do you want them to track the armies of infamy? Like, would you still want to see? Because it doesn't really make sense if you see like orcs and goblins at the top, but like, what happens if like 90% of the people playing orcs and goblins is the nomad tribe thing?
Yeah, or the troll.
Do you track them
thing.
separate, or like because they are sort of different? But I guess 40k have been doing that with detachments all the time, and they probably still just track faction and then detachment, maybe.
Yeah,
I'd imagine.
Yeah, it's up to how they're collecting the stats, isn't it? But they might be able to do a breakdown within the faction of how each element is doing.
Yeah, yeah. Well, we'll keep an eye on them. I do like looking at those lists at the top just to sort of see. But yeah, it just helps you sort of. I don't know. I'm encouraged as well at the same time that they are still a bit variable. And if you've got a few of these tournaments out there that are totally not comped and people go crazy, well, they're at least fun to see. Hopefully, it's just not the norm. So,
yeah. Well, you're always going to have like peaks and troughs, like
Yeah.
What is the meta? It's like maybe people are going to start, staying away from dragons a bit more, and you might see beastmen, starting to per se as an
example,
example, beastmen rock up, and then it's like, well, hang on, they got piss poor leadership, this or that, and then you could, you start having counters to that. So
it's going to be. Look, I think it's in a healthy spot. We'll just have to see it goes. If anything, it just feels like the legacy ones might disappear. Next year we might not see hardly any potentially. Who knows? Which would be unless it's Vamps because they're just so OP. But anyway, with all their whaling jerseys.
Dark Elves have got a dragon. I might actually look up the Dark Elves and see what the go is with their dragon.
Well, is that the next faction focus?
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah. Hey, well, do we want to close it out?
Sure.
We hit 2 hours, so that's probably enough. People will probably finish painting whatever they were painting. Guys.
Are they ever finished painting?
Nah, never. Thanks, guys. If you've got any other tournaments you want us to look at in terms of if you saw any lists that are took your fancy, we'd love to have a look at them on the show as well and do our breakdown. Not that it's that valuable, but it's kind of interesting to see what people are taking. We do also have, like I said, we did the faction focus for Beastmen. So if you haven't watched that, that's on YouTube. And me and Andrew are trying to catch up occasionally on lunch times, aren't we, to hobbies? I don't know if you're around tomorrow or not, Andrew, but I did put that up.
Yeah, no,
there
it is.
A live stream tomorrow.
It's in my diary.
I shouldn't say that because by the time this goes out, it would have already been yesterday.
It would have already happened.
So I think they're usually Tuesday.
Sorry, you missed it, guys.
So you missed it. So I keep forgetting that we're recording a day earlier, so that doesn't help. But we'll do that every week. So basically, just keep an eye out on the YouTube channel. You'll see live stream scheduled. Jump on, and if you've got a camera, you can even jump on as well. Be cool.
Mm.
Guys, anything you want to cover? Otherwise, I'll close out today's show.
Nah, I was just gonna say a big thanks to Luke for sending, and that'd be fantastic. Look, if you guys have got some content you want to send through, yeah, we all had a look, and yeah, it's great. Great for Luke.
I want to
Meg for
dig
sending
into a
that
little
through.
bit more. I didn't spend enough time this week, so I definitely want to have a look through it all. So
Yeah,
it was really good. It's
that was a
very
good
thorough.
resource.
Cool.
Mm.
Anyway, okay, thanks for listening to another Old World Fanatics, guys. If you enjoy our weekly ramblings, we'd love a 5-star review on your podcast software of choice, or if this is on YouTube, just hit the like, subscribe, like we said. And right at the beginning, if you want to join our Patreon, it's at patreon.com/oldworldfanatics, and it just helps us out a little bit. But other than that, you can always email us or find us on the socials at Old World Fanatics. And until next time, I'll talk to you guys later. Thanks for listening to another episode of Old World Fanatics. Cheers, guys. Bye.